Hey, do you remember when President Biden and even people like St. Anthony Fauci decided that the governor of Texas was going to get people needlessly killed because he had, quote, Neanderthal thinking?
I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime, everything's fine, take off your mask.
He who laughs last, laughs best. Governor Abbott tweeted out today, 0 COVID deaths. The only time that's happened since March of 2020. The fewest COVID cases in 13 months, the lowest 7-day COVID rate, the lowest COVID hospitalizations in 11 months. Thanks, Texans. Imagine that. They took off their masks, they went back to living their lives, and poof, normal happened. I believe in following the science. But I also believe that we have the ability, as a free-thinking society, to have the freedom to choose whether to accept it, reject it, follow it, ignore it. Now, that doesn't make me right, you wrong, me right. It just means that's what our country was founded on. That we have the right, are you ready for this, to even be stupid. That's what the Constitution protects. You know, the freedom of speech isn't there to simply safeguard the speech that I like and agree with. It is specifically there for the speech that I disagree with. And that's the way this republic was founded. Give me information, and then let me decide whether or not I want to. So when the president continually shames and fearmongers using that so-called piece of cloth as a way to instill you'll do the right thing, which they deem as getting love potion number 9, what happens if I decide to quote the Constitution? I have a Fifth Amendment right. I don't have to put on the Mr. Coffee filter. I don't have to get love potion number 9. And because of HIPAA, I certainly don't have to tell anyone if I've gotten love potion number 9 or haven't. So that leads me to something that I have been wanting to talk about now for a couple of days. Why I hate Dr. Fauci. Pastor Marty, you're not supposed to hate anybody. You remember, you're a pastor. It's love the thinner, but hate the thin. Let me help you out with that. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that are swift to run to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren. So biblically speaking, there are things that God hates. Now let's take those things that he's listed here, and let's see if they pass the Fauci test. A proud look. Does anyone deny that Dr. Fauci loves to sit there with that little grin, that smug arrogance that, I know what's best for you, and right now is not the time for you Americans to be exercising your liberty and your freedom to choose. Now is the time to do what you're told.
We're not a country that would accept if a ruler tells us you must do this. Well, I understand that, but now is the time to do what you're told.
We could pull together as a country and realize the importance. Yeah, we have not, and that's the reason why I said very clearly.
Is it time for the mandate, Dr. Fauci? We lean on you for advice.
And that's the reason why I have been urgently saying every single day that we have got to do things that have not been done uniformly and consistently throughout the country. The numbers that you put up are stunning. This is going to get worse because we're going more into a colder season as we get through the fall and into the winter. With the holiday season going, we've got to do something different. We can't just let this happen. we're going to have many more hospitalizations, and that will inevitably lead to more deaths.
A lying tongue. He lied about masks. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. He evolved. He evolved, and he kind of lied in that, well, you know, in the beginning, there weren't enough masks to go around for all the medical workers, so that's why I told you, you don't have to wear a mask.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
But then once we realized there were enough masks for all the medical people, then you are going to wear a mask. In fact, you better wear 2 masks. In fact, why don't you just put the whole box on?
Is our insistence now on wearing masks. I mean, masks are very important. They protect you from giving infection to someone else if you happen to be inadvertently infected, and I'll get back to that in a moment, because there's such a significant percentage of the cases that are actually without symptoms.
So if you have a physical covering with one layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective. And that's the reason why you see people either double masking or doing a version of an N95.
And as I have contended, that had absolutely nothing to do with a mask mandate. It had everything to do that he was in the creation of this nightmare up to his eyeballs. Now, maybe not, and because I can't go in an intentional route that he intended for this to happen, although he was pretty bold about predicting in 2017 we were going to be dealing, quote, with a surprise outbreak. But he was certainly in this up to his eyeballs in the creation of it as he funded the Wuhan laboratory where this thing pretty much leaked from. And in the beginning, knowing where this came from, he had to kind of play like, I don't want to get everybody all worked up. You don't need to wear a mask. Then when he figured out, hey, if we keep people afraid and worked up, once I roll out the magic formula, love potion number 9, and they start feeling better, at that point, they won't care where it came from. They will be so grateful to me, the great Dr. Fauci, that I have saved your lives. You won't care that I actually had a part in creating it. You won't ask. That's what kind of a vile, miserable individual he is. He has lied as he has created the misery that we have all dealt with.
Fauci says the NIH and the NIAID never directly funded gain-of-function research at the institute, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But like we said, before that's true, but it's also misleading. You see, the NIH, headed by Dr. Fauci, sent $3.7 million to a nonprofit called Echo Health Alliance, which then turned around and sent $600,000 from that grant to the Wuhan lab. I hope you're following that. Take your time, play this back.
Well, I think it's incredibly important that the audience know what gain of function is. They take an animal virus that's benign and does not infect humans, and they juice it up, they make it a super virus so it can infect humans. Now, ostensibly, this is done to study the virus, but there's a danger if that virus leaks that it could kill a lot of people. So when I asked him about this research, we knew the answer. The answer is this, that there's a famous scientist in the Wuhan lab. Her name is Dr. Shi, and she published a paper a couple years ago, which has been reviewed by MIT and says that it's a gain of function research. But in the byline, she has to list the sponsors. She lists Dr. Fauci and the NIAID as a sponsor of her research, which everybody acknowledges gain of function research, juicing up these super viruses. So I don't know how he can get around this. He could argue, oh, it was an intermediary group. We gave it to EcoHealth who gave her the money. I can't imagine he's on national television saying that he didn't do this when the peer-reviewed journal has a byline that says the author, this Batwoman, this scientist from the Wuhan Institute, that she acknowledges that the money came from Dr. Fauci and his institute.
Hands that shed innocent blood. How many people have died? Needlessly? And I don't simply mean physically died, but how many elderly people dying of COVID were not allowed to have a family member near them? Because St. Fauci said, no, that's bad. No. Remember, this is the guy that in dealing with the AIDS epidemic, he never came up with a remedy, a cure, a vaccine. You were basically told you had to wear a hazmat suit to be around anybody that had AIDS. And it wasn't that that got repealed. It was that people just ignored it and stopped following it. Children who have been abused because there were no outside eyes on them. We don't know how many have died, how much innocent blood has been shed because of this man and his recommendations, which became mandates. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. Scaremongering. Scaring everybody to death that if you don't do this, you're going to kill grandma. Him even telling 4-year-olds, it's all right. Santa Claus won't kill your family. I vaccinated him.
Will Santa still be able to visit me in coronavirus season? What if he can't go to anyone's house or near his reindeer?
Well, I have to say I took care of that for you because I was worried that you'd all be upset. So what I did a little while ago, I took a trip up there to the North Pole. I went there and I vaccinated Santa Claus myself. I measured his level of immunity and he is good to go. He can come down the chimney, he can leave the presents, he can leave, and you have nothing to worry about.
What's sad, and it wasn't cute, no matter how much the media tried to spin it, oh, isn't that so sweet, Dr. Fauci, comforting the 4-year-olds. Why were the 4-year-olds emotionally upset? Because of Dr. Fauci, the scaremonger, the guy that has devised a wicked imagination to politicize a virus so that you and I wouldn't ask too many questions about where it came from, so that he didn't get blamed. A false witness that speaketh lies.
Dr. Fauci, do you still support funding of the NIH funding of the lab in Wuhan?
The NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute. We have not funded gain-of-function research on this. I will repeat again. The NIH and NIAID categorically has not funded gain-of-function research. I just wanted to say, I don't know how many times I can say it.
He that soweth discord among the brethren.
Listen, I saw the Washington Post comments. I couldn't believe what I saw, but I just want to make sure I got this right. You're saying cancel the family gathering for Christmas. Is that right?
No, Bill, I'm not saying that everyone should cancel the family gathering. I'm saying that people will need to make individual choices. And when you're talking about having a congregate setting for a dinner, not cancel the family aspect, but, you have some Christmas dinners. People bring friends and others in who've traveled from different parts of the country. You could have 15, 20 people at a dinner. That's really somewhat risky. Try to make some limitation to it. I think there's been a misinterpretation somehow by some.
It sounds like the same advice you were given at Thanksgiving. 10 people in a house, no more than 2 families at a time to come together. So you have not deviated from that, to be more clear now.
I think there has been misinterpretation. I've heard and seen tweets saying Fauci says cancel Christmas. Nonsense. I've never said that.
As much fun as it is to get together on a big Super Bowl party, now is not the time to do that.
What is your message tonight to both vaccinated and unvaccinated Americans as to what they should and should not be doing right now? For example, eating and drinking indoors in restaurants and bars. Is that okay now?
No, it's still not okay for the simple reason that the level of infection, the dynamics of infection in the community are still really disturbingly high.
That's why I hate Dr. Fauci. Because, biblically speaking, he fits the criteria that God hates. Boom, there it is. Hey, make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. Make sure you have smacked the bell and clicked the word all to get notification of my rants. And make sure you are doing everything you can to spread the word that we're here and we're talking about stuff that nobody else has got the guts to.